Good morning, everybody. I'm doing a quick video before I head out the door for work. As you can see, all the hoppers are now here for now. They'll probably go back on the layout. But as you can see, right now, all the tank cars are in the yard. Right now, the total car count is now 74 tank cars. And here's all the engines. 15 engines plus the 3 over there. So we got 12 here and the other 3 over there. So that's 15. All the tank cars are in the yard. All 74. Yeah. I was able to fit all of them in here. All 74 into this yard. Yeah. Now I said that I was going to stop at 80, so I am going to stop at 80. So hopefully by this weekend I will have the last of the cars, tank cars, and that's going to be it. I won't get any more. Um, I was trying to do some last night where I could explain how these hoppers and all the tank cars are going to go on this layout. Um, if you remember, there's some of the tank cars up there on the board and how 4Rail is done. Uh, Maybe I can explain it here with 4Rail. As you can see, 4Rail gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 cars in all. I did drop it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars instead of 11. But since I now have 80 cars now, I'm able to go full prototypical on 4Rail, which is good. And as you can see, there is a WH, BW, WB. There is a reason why I did that. It's because I color stamped all the sections of 4Rail. And if you notice, 4.3 and 4.4 was the brown tank cars. This used to be the white tank cars, and then the black tank cars, and then there was a black tank car here. Well, since I have a huge amount of tank cars for 4Rail, it will still be the brown tank cars here. I changed this to the white tank cars, and then here, what I'm gonna do is set in the CBTX cars and the offset cars. What I mean by the offset cars is like this Gastex car and then that CHS car. No, actually, the Gastex and the CHVX cars will go down here with the CBTX cars. So I have a quite amount of cars that go at certain areas on 4Rail, and then a certain amount of cars that go on 8Rail. All the short tank cars, these I guess you say 34 footers or close to 40 footers, all these tank cars go to 8Rail, and then I have 17 cars, so I'm able to set a certain amount of cars here. So when I do the rotation or the cycle, I have so many cars here, so many cars here, and then so many cars in there on stage, stay on the staging track and on spot and drop. So the idea is to have 4 here, 4 here, 4 there, and then 4 there. So that's 16 cars, 2 on spot, 2 on stage, 4 cars in the staging track over there, probably 2 cars or 4 cars, depending on how many cars I can stage over there. And then I have 5 cars over here because I have 17 cars in all. So the cycle, these cars, pretty much it'll have a cycle going on. just like over there on 4 rail. So many cars to be over here, and then in there in the closet, and then in the yard. And then Mariani, the same. These are all the cars for Mariani. This is 20 cars. I think it's 10, 16 cars for Mariani. The limestone will have about 3 cars in there. There'll probably be 2 cars staged in the yard over there in the closet branch. And then the rest are a few be here and some will be in yard. So we have a cycle there. And then the backside 2 rail, the same way. We have so many cars in there and then so many in there. So for example, let me see how, if I can explain this to y'all real quick on how the cycle will go. So you have to take your time and watch what I'm doing. All right. Say for instance, we have these cars here. These are the cars that's for Joe Chemical Plant. They use resin. Okay, this is for Joe. I'm sorry, not Joe. Roy Chemical Plant. Well, Roy Chemical Plant only spot and drop 2 cars at a time, but we always take we always take 2 in there. So when there are 4 cars, or however we do it, over here at the backside 2 rail, it takes 6 cars, but we pull at least 3 cars over there for the outbound. So the way that's going to work, let's do the cycle in its complete form. All right, we have 6 cars on spot. Let's say these cars are spotted at 6 rail, backside 2 rail. These are the spotted cars. All right. We come around there to spot out of the yard 2 cars. Okay. We're only going to pull 3. We'll make the decision, just pull 3 at a time. So we pull 3 for Joe, for the outbound train to go to Joe. So we're going to set these cars here. All right. We brought 2 cars here. Well, matter of fact, we need to bring 3. So if we pull 3, we'll bring 3 around. So we set 3. Okay. Now be mindful, we already got 2 cars in there at Roy. So we got these cars right here. This car here is on stage over there. All right. So, and we have 1 car in the yard. When we do the outbound train, we will take these cars. We'll take these cars to Roy. When we go to Roy, we want to go to pull 2 cars for the outbound. So we pull these 2 cars here to go to the yard. Okay. Be mindful, we got 1 extra car in the yard that's empty just in case. Okay. So these cars will go to the yard. Once we do that, be mindful, we already got that 1 extra car. All right. So we take these cars to backside 2 rail to be loaded again. Okay. We'll pull the same amount. We'll pull 3 cars to go to the outbound. These cars are now at Joe for spotting. And then the same thing. We'll pull 2 cars. We'll cycle the cars. So that's pretty much how that's going to work. We'll cycle the cars 3 or 2 at a time, depending on what the order is, or how I make the order sheet for the rail cars to be loaded, to be spotted at the plant. So that's how you cycle the cars. You'll You always have so many cars to work a certain area. And that's how it is in prototypical. They have so many cars. For example, where I work for that one crest line, we get in 1 week average 10 to 15 cars a week, depending on our production. Since production is slow, we order less cars. If production is high, we're going to bombard our tracks with at least 17 to 18 cars out there at a time, depending on production. Same thing with your layout. You want to use a certain amount of cars for one company at a time. And how you do that, if it's raw materials coming from one plant and going to another plant for processing, they're going to have so many cars sent to you, and the railroad has to transfer so many cars to the plant to be processed and loaded, if that makes any sense to y'all. So when I do the cycle, y'all, when I start doing the video series and the cycle or live, however I do it, y'all get an understanding of how many cars will be needed for certain spots on the layout. All right. Now these cars over here are for the limestone, composite limestone for the resin. And the way that is, these cars will be at the front of backside two rail. So it's always two. These will always be unloaded, two at a time. So we take two, and pretty simple as this. We take the limestone cars. We take two to the limestone plant. We'll put those here. We got two already on spot at the backside two rail. We'll have four in the yard always. Somewhat. We'll have four in the yard. We'll take two to the limestone. These will be on the outbound train to go to the limestone plant. And then we'll pull the limestone plant cars and take them to the yard. And then we'll cycle the next car here and here and here. So as you can see, I need 2, 4, 6, 8 cars, probably 10 cars to do that cycle. Because I always want to have at least 2 to 4 cars in the yard, either loaded or empty, just in case. So that gives you an understanding of how many cars I need on this layout at all times. Tank cars, the CBTX, I got 8 of those, and the STAX, I got 8 of those. That's 16 cars that goes will be cycled some way in the Ron's chemical plant inside the in the closet, because it only has 2 spots. Well, since I have so many tank cars now, I can make it either 3-spot or 4-spot drop. So with 80 cars, that's 4 going in there. You need 8 in all to be staged, 8 on the staging track. And you also need at least 16 in the yard. 16 in the yard. 4 of them will be over here on spot, and then the other 12 will be in the yard. And then, or I'll have 4 over there in the staging track ready to be going to be spot and drop. So you kind of get the sense of how many cars need to be in different areas of the layout. It's very important to take your time and figure out how many cars you want on your layout. 80 tank cars is pretty good for how many companies that's going to be involved with tank cars. And I have on the spot and drop in the closet, I have 4 companies, 1, 2, 3, 4 car companies in there that requires tank cars. and that's almost 20 tank cars that's going in there. So the idea is to always maintain so many tank cars on your layout when you doing spot and drop. So 80 tank cars is pretty good. That's good. That's enough. So there always be tank cars and hoppers in the yard. There always be some tank cars and hoppers started the closet branch yard, and there'll be some stage at different areas. So that was my magic number is 80. I said 100, but after I looked at everything closely, I was like 80 is enough. So that's good. So I hope this makes sense on how I cycle my tank cars and hoppers on this layout now. I did that in the past on other layouts where I cycled the rail cars depending on how many cars or certain cars that I use. And I will do some more detail in explaining how order sheets are done. Railroad do the order sheets with the companies and how all that done, because I got a first glimpse of that at work, and it was how it was explained to me. So I am going to explain it to you someday. I'll go live on Facebook and explain how order sheets and all that stuff is done for rail cars. So hopefully y'all will be around to see that soon. So I hope this was helpful. I know I didn't realize it was going to be 16 minutes long trying to explain all this, but yeah. Oh, those hoppers over there are going to be shipped out to a friend of mine. Um, he is doing a wonderful job on this layout, and I said I will send him some more stuff, and I hope he enjoys them. So yeah, he's getting some more stuff. So this is pretty much it. I got to get to work. So thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a safe day. Stay out of the rain if it's raining where you at. Otherwise, enjoy the sun if you got it. Until then, y'all take care. Bye.